everyone, I'm Liz Burrell and welcome to the Big Green Egg Grilling Show. Each week we bring you something new in the world of grilling, smoking, roasting, or baking, along with tips, tricks, and of course, great cooking segments. During each show, we'll learn about different ways to flavor or season your cooks. We'll show you new egg accessories and how best to use them, and answer some of the questions that we get from our fans on various social media channels or our email, mailbag@biggreenegg.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to start off by answering a few questions that came in after last week's show. This one comes from Kristen in Arizona, and she asks about making the perfect pizza without it sticking to the pizza stone. Well, a tip I learned from the pros is to use parchment paper and add cornstarch and a little bit of flour on top of the parchment paper. Put your pizza on top of that, and then after about 5 to 7 minutes while it's cooking on the stone, pull the parchment out, put the pizza back on the stone, and finish your cook that way. Next question comes from Tom in Florida. What is the advantage of brining meats, and is it necessary? So it's not always necessary. It depends on what meat you're using. Pork is great brined. Chickens, especially all your birds, a goose, duck, turkey, chicken, you definitely want to brine those ahead of time. It makes for much juicier meat. As far as beef, you don't need to unless you're making a pastrami. Pork is great brined, especially pork chops. So that really, it depends on the kind of meat that you're using. That's a few from the mailbag, so keep the questions and comments coming in, and every week we'll get to a couple of them during the show. Now, let's get outside and move on to today's recipe, ratatouille. Today, we're going to be making a French spring and summer dish called ratatouille. Now, you probably didn't think that you could do this on the egg, but guess what? You can. Today, we're going to teach you how to do that. So we've gone ahead and started our egg. We're going to set it at 375 degrees indirect. We're going to need a big green egg cast iron skillet. And make sure that after you put your convector in, you immediately put your cast iron in so that it's hot enough to cook. So let's go ahead and get started with our sauce. So we are going to make a red sauce. We've got 16 ounces of crushed tomatoes. We've got 2 tablespoons of chopped basil, 4 cloves of garlic minced, 1 sweet onion, completely rough chopped, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, 1 yellow bell pepper, and about a tablespoon of butter. Now, we are going to season this with salt and pepper. As far as our vegetables go, we've got 8 Roma tomatoes sliced down to about a 1/16 of an inch. We've got 3 yellow squash, 2 zucchini, and about 3 eggplant. The eggplant, you can get the thin ones. Those are better. If not, we're just going to have bigger eggplant rounds, and it tastes exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter. Now, for our herb sauce, we've got extra virgin olive oil, basil, garlic, parsley, dried oregano, and some fresh thyme, salt and pepper to taste, of course. Now, this is kind of up to you. We'll have the recipe to follow. You can add more or less garlic, more or less basil. That's all depending on what you prefer. So let's go ahead and get started with our red sauce. We are going to add our olive oil in first, just a little drizzle. We don't want our butter to burn. Throw our butter in there. Our bell peppers. Give that a nice stir. And our onion. Make sure everything's coated with olive oil and butter. Now we're going to let these veggies sweat down for the next few minutes. I would give it about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back. We're going to add our basil, our garlic, and our crushed tomato seasoned with salt and pepper, and then we're going to pull this out and get all of our vegetables beautifully arranged. All right, so it's time to start the base of our red sauce on top of our beautiful bell peppers and our onion. Give this a nice stir real quick. Make sure that everything is sweated down kind of evenly. We're going to add our 16 ounces of crushed tomatoes. Give that a stir.
add our garlic and our basil. Make sure you get all of it out of there. You don't want to waste any garlic or basil. Too tasty. And now we're going to let this cook down for another 5 minutes or so. Then we're going to pull the cast iron off, lay it down right here, and we're going to start making our beautiful design with our sliced vegetables. So we are ready to start putting together our vegetables in a pretty rose pattern in our cast iron, but first we need some salt. So we're going to add about 2 pinches of salt here, a little bit more pepper. So we're going to pull our cast iron out. Please make sure that you use your heat gloves. Shut our egg, and we're going to knock it down to about 350 degrees. We're going to flatten out our beautiful red sauce here. And then we're going to start putting our vegetables in a pattern. So you can do this in any pattern you want. I'm going to do eggplant, zucchini, squash, tomato. Layer them around the edge of our pan pretty tightly. And you can go back and add some in here if you want later. All right, so now that we have our beautiful rose pattern done here, we are going to drizzle with our herb seasoning and be pretty liberal with this. We do want to reserve some for after to top our finished ratatouille with, and we're going to use some of it on our sourdough bread. This smells amazing. And now we are going to cover it with tin foil, place it on the egg for 40 minutes, and we're going to come back and check on it. All right, so we are ready to pull off our aluminum foil from our ratatouille. It's really, I think it's looking fabulous. It is. It's like a big vegetable rose petal here. So we're going to let that cook for about 20 minutes uncovered. We're going to move it to the back here because we're going to toast some of our gorgeous sourdough bread. And then we're going to top that with a little bit of our herb sauce that we made earlier. Now, a little tidbit, people always ask, you know, why should we wear these gloves? I get comments about it all the time. Why do we wear these specific heat gloves? Well, if you try to use, you know, your gardening gloves or regular kitchen gloves, they're not going to stand up to the heat of this glove. So we want to make sure that we're always using a heat glove when we're dealing with our grill. So we're going to let that toast for a little bit, and we will be back when it's time to plate. Okay, well, that's cooking. This week's tips from the EGGsperts, we are going to talk about the convector and whether it goes in with the feet up or the feet down. It does go in with the feet up. The reason is because it holds our grill grate above the convector and above that ceramic plate so that we get an even amount of heat. Now, when you want to clean your convector, you want to turn your convector upside down, the legs facing down, so that the fire cleans the bottom of the convector off. Another question I'm asked during classes at the Big Green Egg Culinary Center is about the new regulator and how it's different from the original metal daisy wheel. The new regulator is waterproof, rust-proof, and it comes with a rain cap so that you can cook in the rain, and that's amazing because before, the rain would just get inside the daisy wheel. Now, it also does not flip backwards when you open the egg. So overall, it's just more user-friendly, much easier, and much more beginner-friendly as well if you've just gotten an egg. So that's our tips from the EGGsperts for this week. And now let's get back to our egg and see how our ratatouille is coming along. All right, so we're gonna pull our bread off. I'm gonna brush it with a little bit of our herb mixture here as we take it off. Not a lot, just a little bit. Just want to give it a little bit of flavor. Now we will pull our beautiful ratatouille off. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we're just gonna kind of take little scoops. You don't necessarily want to cut into this. You just want to take scoops of each of the vegetables and put them on the plate. Let's pick some really pretty layers here. Gorgeous. I'm gonna take a piece of our crusty herbed bread and then some of our herb sauce here. And that's our beautiful big green egg ratatouille. Isn't it gorgeous? Definitely try this at home. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember that you can go to biggreenegg.com for our videos, recipes, and photos of what we cook on the show. You can also get home delivery on the website. Please tune in next time when we come up with another special recipe on the Big Green Egg. Once again, I'm Liz Burrell. Thank you for tuning in.
There's a place where fire and flavor are celebrated. Grill it, roast it, smoke it, or bake it. It's the most versatile grill you'll ever own. Have it delivered to your door by a certified dealer in your community and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience. Visit biggreenegg.com.